video on something that I want to have a play around with. So I saw someone making a sandwich and then they wrapped it in bacon and then they roasted it in the oven. And I kind of thought, I've got to have a go at that. So we have a French stick, French loaf, baguette. It's not a loaf, is it? So I need to scoop out the centre so we can get more filling into it. Because we don't want it to be too bready, do we? So scoop out the centre, and then we're going to stuff it with, I've got some leftover meat from a function, so some slow braised beef, and I've got some caramelised onions which I've just made, which I'll just quickly cook them down in a bit of fat and a bit of salt, and a bit of, salt, and I was going to say sugar, I don't know why I say sugar, salt and pepper. So that's that, we don't need that, let's get that out of the way. So, I've got some cheese as well. So, that, I did have a knife out. No, I have now. So, how are we going to do this? I need a fork. So the meat is pretty tender and it's a little bit warm, so I've just warmed it up just to get rid of the excess gravy off it. So, we'll do that. It's not going to be like a recipe as such, it's going to be a case of something that we put together. Now, my only thought was that, can we really, well, the bacon's going to shrink, and I can't, how is it going to stick to the bread? So I've kind of had a thought about that, and I thought what we'll do is we'll roll it up in some kitchen foil and some baking parchment. So baking parchment first, then that will stop the bacon from sticking to the foil, and then it'll kind of roast in the oven a bit like a jam roly-poly. As long as we've got a decent enough temperature, it will. Should have mixed that meat in with the onions, shouldn't I? That'd have been better, wouldn't it? Let's mix that meat within the onions. So, just to show that I don't prepare any of my videos beforehand, fixing the mistake as we go. I don't prepare anything. Right, now that's what I do with it. Much better just to have a go at something and we get an idea of what it's going to be like. And we'll give it a taste and we'll see what we think. Probably would be better with a non-fresh mozzarella. That's nice, as it is. I just need a bit more salt. More salt, and then we'll pack in as much as we can. Let's put it all in. Let's break it all up a bit. So I kind of think you could do this with anything you've got, any kind of leftover meat. Sunday roast, lamb would be nice. Lamb and feta, that would be nice. Or a bit of bacon. Or bacon on the outside and bacon on the inside. Even better, eh? So, that's it. There's about 3 onions. I don't know how much meat it was. But anyway. So, get that bit of bread out of the way. I don't know why I'm aching today. Oh, I know why. It's because I did 2 functions yesterday. And I went to yoga this morning. And then needed a snooze this afternoon. That's probably why I'm a little bit achy. Yeah, so pack the sandwich full. Don't know if we'll get it all in. I'm slightly concerned about it spilling out the edges, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And then just that. Thinking about plugging the ends up with a bit of bread. I should have bought a baguette, but I was in the supermarket and they were cheap. They were selling them off. They were, the kind of best before dates had changed, so they needed to sell more. So it was only like 24p. So I just thought, well, I'll just buy a bigger one, and then I can have a bigger sandwich, can't I? But yeah, so it would have been the end of the baguette would have kept it all in, type of thing, if that makes sense. So that's my only slight concern. Let's get that in the bin. But I think we can plug it up. Let's plug it up. Yeah, let's put a plug on the end like that. So that'll plug up the end, won't it? Yes, I think that'll work. When we get there, those out of the way. And then I have already... Here's one I prepared earlier. So, it is an old bit of kitchen foil that I had knocking about. I think I'll double layer it. And then baking parchment on top, like that. And then I have crisscrossed the bacon. So it's kind of overlapped both ways. So obviously the bacon's going to shrink over time. So we kind of want that and there and that and there. And then that like that and that like that. And I think hopefully that will keep that in. And then how are we going to do this? That's going to be loads of bacon, isn't there? I've probably overdone it on the bacon. I wonder if we can... No, we'll do that after. I'm just thinking my way through this. That if we have if we can work it that the seam of the sandwich, that bit there, is up when we bake it, we might be slightly better off of it all wanting to spill out. Like that. So those are there, that over there, that over there. That will look like that. So is that where the split is? That looks about where the split is, doesn't it? Feels like it's about there. So how do I mark that? I think it's about there. So I don't want to crunch that end, and then we'll give it another. I think it's going to need, I've made it too big, so it's going to need another layer of foil. So where are we? You have to buy some big foil for this, or just make them smaller. That is from the bottom there, and then that's it there, isn't it? And then twist the end like that. That's a ridiculous sandwich. So as long as we bake it up in the oven like that, I reckon, well, as always, I'm going to go swimming first and then build up an appetite. Although it's been snowing, so I might not actually have to get to the gym. But we'll see. So, something like that. And then we'll bake it in the oven, 200 degrees, about 40 minutes, something like that. And we'll see how it turns out. So this smells ready. Let's have a look. It's not... You can hear it. You can hear it, and it's not burst open. So it's had 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Let's have a look. I'm hungry and it's getting late, to be honest, so if it's not ready, I'm still going to eat it now. So, let's take it off that. That can get used for something else. And hopefully it won't spill out everywhere. Could just whip off the ends, but there's always the danger then that it's all going to seep out all over the board, which is not what we want. I was kind of thinking that if that beef and onion, caramelised onion, was lovely, really should do some kind of sandwich with that. Maybe not for a function, but for maybe a video. Maybe. So, bacon won't be crispy, I'll let know. But I am trying not to burn myself. That's why it's taking a little bit too long. It's very juicy. Lots of juices come out. Look at that. Well, that's quite impressive, doesn't it? Let's just wait for the smoke to clear. I was going to think it was going to be a sandwich, but this is more like going to be like a roast, isn't it? That looks impressive. Should take a picture of that. Right, so we're taking a picture. So it's steamed. So I was kind of thinking it's a little bit like a savoury. No, I'm not going to say that. A savoury jam roly-poly. There is something else, like a steamed sponge, but in pink and long. So let's cut into an end. So plugging up the ends have worked. That's worked, hasn't it? That's worked. I would have preferred the bacon to have gone crispy, but mind you, it might have. I suppose we could put it back in the oven. We'll put a bit back in the oven and we'll see if we can crisp it up outside of that. How's that? I mean, it's meat, bacon, bread, and cheese. It's going to be nice, isn't it? That's lovely. That's lovely, that. So, did it with bread, but we could do it with syrup pastry. So, make like a savoury roly-poly, and then put bacon around the outside. That'd be ridiculous, wouldn't it? Well, see, I put that in my mouth and then I wanted to speak. I can't help myself. So, let's put a piece of that in the oven and see if it crisps up. That's what we'll do. So, I'll cut a section. It's just that I wanted it to. I didn't want the bacon just to unfold off the top of it, and I didn't want to have to tie it. But that looks good, doesn't it? We should take a picture of that. So we'll put that, a section of it, in the oven. See if we can crisp it up on the outside, and see what kind of happens. Of course, right. So we've got all this juice that's come out. So of course you're going to dip the bread in the juice, aren't you? How does that taste? Delicious. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. So that's crisped up on the outside. So if we'd have used a fattier bacon, it would have gone even crispier. So what are my recommendations? My recommendations are that you wrap it up in something to start off with. I don't think you necessarily need to wrap it in foil. So I've done it again, haven't I? Put something in my mouth and I started talking. Apologies. I think wrapping it in the baking parchment and cooking it for half an hour so the bacon sets on the outside, and then I think you can take it out of the paper, start to faff with the foil, and then crisp it up on the outside, and then it's what is it? It's like a cheap roast, isn't it? You know, you're using bread to bulk out some meat. It doesn't necessarily need the bacon. I think you could just do it with the bread, but therefore you could just do it with a suet pastry. You can do stew with pastry, but I think a suet pastry would be better. But suet's kind of quite expensive, so your bread is the cheaper alternative to the suet pastry. But I'll do a version with the I'll do a savoury version with some suet pastry, and we'll see about wrapping it in bacon. We'll certainly put some of slow braised beef and some caramelised red onions and some cheese going through it. I think I've done something similar before, but I think I just did meat or vegetables. But we'll have another go. But it's delicious, and it's certainly a way of making some. Nearly did it again. Making some leftovers go a little bit further. But there we go. Delicious and a success.